Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today we got some wrestling, some Japanese wrestling. So we got burning power wrestling. Let's see how this goes, shall we? We're just gonna go exhibition. We got American Lucha Libre. That's kind of interesting. We have like all wrestling from around the world, even some kickboxing. We'll go Japanese. I mean, so far it looks like there is a lot that you can do. We got DQs, we got time limits that we can change up. 3 falls, 3 minutes, wow, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. We can go 30-minute matches, 40, like an hour or infinite. Like that is a lot. I don't know if that means that you just go until you get a pinfall. You even get to change your referee. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Like the amount of it's weird. Can we? But getting over to the other side, we're not. We can't change anything on the other side. Maybe it's just that's what that one is. Yeah, I guess. It changes, whatever rule set we have is what changes the right side. So we can't go through there and make our own changes. Pancreas. What is pancreas? Alright. Let's go 3 minutes. Alright, see, that's where it stops. It's like all of a sudden we have all these and then you have 3 very, very poorly done wrestling sprites. So let's see. We could do Hulk Hogan. Okay, so we have Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, Vader, Bret Hart, Sting, Savage. So we have, at this time, we have the WWF and the WCW. We have Rick Rude, Ravishing Rick Rude. Loved Rick Rude back in the day. Oh yeah, Macho Man, Randy Savage. All right. So the War, I guess this is going to be Japanese, or probably Luchas. Seems more Luchas. No, because that's Lucha, so I don't know what War is then. Not familiar with it. I guess this must be the Japanese stuff. And then New Japan. Okay, so I take it back. We do have a good plethora. Sabu, huh? Before he was ECW. Same thing with Chris Benoit. Wow, lots of New Japan. The Steiner Brothers. Animal and Hawk, ECW. Or, I'm sorry, WCW. Dean Malenko. I mean, we have a lot of wrestlers. I take it back. The sprite work is definitely not the best. Oops. I keep doing that. Okay, why is it being... We continue. Undertaker, okay. Oh, CP. Okay, so now we're doing... let's go Vader. There we go. The sprite work, not a fan of. Like, you can kind of tell Vader, but you can't tell that that's the Undertaker at all. As far as wrestling games go, this is actually one of the better ones I think I've played so far in this. It doesn't. It's not like immensely incredible, and they could have done better on the sprite work. But I mean, I'll take less sprite work over better actual controls and more things that go on, like being able to drag someone into the middle of the ring. Trying to see if we got. I mean, it feels like there's going to be a lot of moves. This is one of those games you're definitely going to need to have. Like the book for like it seems like there's a lot going on. Lots of lockups. Bear hug. One thing we don't have that would be kind of nice is like a health bar like we've seen in a couple of them. I mean, definitely takes a lot of, it's going to take a lot of practice. This game looks like it's actually somewhat elaborate. And like I said, I will definitely take less sprite work over actual quality gameplay any day. I knocked myself into the corner. So you can literally run yourself into the corner. So that means you could like literally throw the guys into the corner if you learned how to do it. There we go. Okay, so I thought that would actually climb. I'm trying to figure out how to climb the turnbuckle. So the bumpers don't do anything. It seems like it's a 4-button control. I've been trying to do what I could with the bumpers, but it's not doing anything. DDT out of the ring, baby. Yeah, the lockups is where most of the moves happen. And it's really figuring out how to actually execute the moves. I honestly, as nice as it is, it seems to be what happens like constantly, where you don't get to do as much because you're constantly locking up. So I could do without that. Being able to actually do more without having to lock up would be nice. And then we got the slam where we're down again. So all in all, the game is done pretty well. Couple of things I'm on the fence on is the fact that, like, at first it was kind of interesting and I get what they're doing, but the constant locking up every second in order to execute various moves, I get it and I understand what they're doing, but it really starts to wear out a little bit where it's constantly lock up and lock up. Rather than being able to actually execute many of these moves outside of that, which you can't really do. You can punch and you can kick, but then you lock up to do everything. And I think that kind of starts to wear thin and just becomes more boring because it's you have less things that you can do, and I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot more that we're missing without having the book, without having instructions or actually really a grasp of how this game plays. But from first glances, first kind of point of view, the lockup starts to get a little old and a little stale pretty quickly, and it can use a little bit more of the ability to do more outside of that, which you can't really do. You can go into the ring, you can kick, you can punch, and that's it. It looks like we're only using the 4 buttons. I was trying the bumpers; they weren't doing anything at any point. So there's still a lot to learn. You do have a lot of options, which is kind of interesting. I mean, at first glance, it looked like we had a lot more options than we really did, because on the right side we couldn't adjust anything, and it was just kind of whatever, almost match style that you want to say, or even country. We can go so far as to say, and then that changes the rules a little bit, but not much. I mean, changing the referee. I mean, what does that really do? Is the referees really going to matter? I mean, it's cute, it's silly, and it's very interesting that they added that ability to do it, but does it really matter? Same thing with a couple of them. It's interesting to have the time limit thing and a couple of the other stuff, but I think more of the options seem more gimmicky than anything else. They do have a wide array of wrestlers, but I'm not seeing a lot, but I don't know how much it really matters, because A, a lot of them look the same, and B, with the lockups, I don't know how much of like their moves are actually going to be incorporated, or if it's going to be a lot of everybody's going to be somewhat generic, is kind of how it feels so far. The Vader splash, so I mean, I feel like there could be a possibility for it, but it feels like there's only so much you can truly do, even in lockup, to being limited to a lot of movesets. So at first glance, it does seem like it's intricate, and it does seem like turns out to be a lot of things, but I feel like that's more gimmicky, like making it look like you have options when you really don't. And I feel like most of the moves are all going to be pretty generic and all with the same. You might have each person's, at least the main people's finishing moves, but like how many of them all have different ones? You saw the list of so many dudes on the roster, but how many of them really have their own finishing move, and how many are actually going to be incorporated into the game? Like, this is something that does have a lot of potential. Again, if we can have a list and look at all the stuff going on, look at like move sets for everybody, we might start seeing glaring changes, but we might start seeing a lot of the same thing repeated amongst every single person on the roster. So all in all, it looks like there's more options than there really are. It looks like a lot of the options are more gimmicky than anything else, or to give you that illusion of a lot of stuff going on, even though there really isn't. Like I said, it has a really cool roster, but unfortunately, the sprite work isn't as good as it could have been. But if the gameplay itself really lends itself to be more creative and more fun, then it's willing and it's worthwhile to have less, distinguishing sprite work and more, really good quality gameplay. And from what I can tell, the gameplay does feel pretty solid. It's pretty, interactive, but it's the lockup in order to do everything in the game that kind of takes away a little bit of it. So all in all, decent little game, definitely fun, definitely a game that you really have to get, like, you need a book or whatever, you need to look up the moves, because it is extremely hard to figure out everything on the fly with very limited options, very limited time, unless they have the practice match where the guy just sits there and you can do things, which unfortunately NES, Super NES, N64, even GameCube, and some of those systems, most of those didn't really have the practice settings on it until later on. I believe Killer Instinct did, and a couple other ones, but I think they were very few and far between, and it pretty much said, here's the book, throw you in there, figure it out, and learn it. But it does play well, it does respond well, the controls are solid. There's, like I said, there's a lot going on, but how much of it is really different from each other leaves a little bit to figure out. So with that being said, guys, thanks so much. Till next time, you guys have a good one.